We've told you a lot about Operation Sindoor, about how terror hubs in Pakistan were destroyed, how the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force were in the thick of action and the kind of damage that was dealt to Pakistan's air bases. But tonight, let me tell you about those who did not make the headlines. The ones who moved in silence, whose deployments were swift and strategic. This was the biggest mobilization since the 1971 war. I'm talking about the Indian Navy here. 36 warships, multiple submarines and 1 aircraft carrier. A formidable armada was deployed in the Arabian Sea. The Indian Navy was locked and loaded. They were ready to choke Pakistan's sea lanes. And this was not just a flex. This was a message to Pakistan. Call for a ceasefire or lose Karachi. The Indian Navy forced Pakistan to pick up the phone. Here's what we know. 36 Indian warships were deployed near Pakistan's coast. We have 125 warships. Out of these, 36 were deployed near Pakistan's coast. At the heart of it was the INS Vikrant. This is India's homemade aircraft carrier. 46,000 tons of steel and firepower, capable of launching fighter jets like the MiG-29K. The Vikrant is a fortress at sea. And it never moves alone. It was flanked by dozens of warships, like missile destroyers, stealth frigates and submarines, all of them armed to the teeth with lethal BrahMos missiles and silent torpedoes. Altogether, they're called the Carrier Battle Group. That's the Vikrant and its ships. Together, they make the Carrier Battle Group. And they were a few hundred kilometers away from Karachi, far enough to defend against incoming threats, but within range to take out Karachi's port, and that too in a matter of minutes. So this was no routine patrol. This was an open dare to Pakistan. Think twice before making a move, or risk losing Karachi. The Indian Navy's Director of Operations issued the warning himself.
The Indian Navy's Carrier Battle Group, surface forces, submarines and aviation assets were immediately deployed at sea with full combat readiness. Our forces remained forward deployed in the Northern Arabian Sea in a dissuasive and deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi at time of our choosing.
Let me tell you why Karachi was on the radar. It is not just a port, it is Pakistan's lifeline. Karachi is the country's largest port. Other ports like Gwadar and Ormara are a fraction in size. More than 75% of Pakistan's trade is done through the Karachi port. At least 80% of their oil imports flow through here. A blockade or strike on Karachi port would have paralyzed the country. The Indian Navy knows this because they have done it before. In Operation Trident, during the 1971 war, back then India deployed 6 warships to cripple Karachi. They brought the port and the city to its knees. The Karachi port was on fire for 4 days in a row. That was in 1971. Let's fast forward to today. This time, the scale was 6 times larger. 36 warships had their missiles aimed at Karachi. A quarter of India's naval fleet was ready for action. Pakistan's navy, with just 30 warships in total, was simply outgunned. They were confined to their harbors. They did not even dare to set sail into open waters. The Indian Navy's deployment was not just about numbers, it was a masterclass in power projection. Pakistan's Chinese anti-ship weapons, or so-called weapons, were silent. Their navy was left humbled. All of this without a single shot being fired. So what's the bigger picture? India is done with Pakistan's state-sponsored terrorism. Pakistan's military is hand in glove with terrorists, so they too are fair game. Operation Sindoor may have been fought on land, but the Indian Navy's role is slowly emerging. They dominated the Arabian Sea, with INS Vikrant leading the pack. India owned the maritime front. It was a clear warning to Islamabad. Karachi's safety is in your hands, but the Indian Navy's terms and conditions apply. This was not about provocation, this was about posture, and a reminder that India is a naval force to reckon with. At Firstpost, we are choosing to hold on to accuracy, That means we won't always be first. We may not get you your breaking alert. But what you will get is what we owe you. And that is the truth. Verified, checked, and cross-checked. We rely on sources and verified ones. After all, that's what separates a journalist from a loudspeaker. But sometimes even we miss a beat. And when we do, we will tell you. Like yesterday, we ran visuals from a registered news agency. That visual turned out to be fake. So we are taking accountability. And from now on, we will cite the source of every visual. Every picture, every video that you see on Firstpost will have a source mentioned. That is our commitment to you. We will wait, we will verify, we will ask again, and only then will we tell you. No noise, no panic, just the facts. Because right now, that is what the country needs most.